Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome today. My name is Daljit Baines. I'm the Head of Admissions and Business Development. I hope you can hear me clearly. I'm doing a quick presentation today about how to apply to Windsor College. The process actually is similar to all three sites, that's including Langley and Strode College, but the focus point today is about Windsor College. I hope you had an informative session so far with Amanda, the principal. She's gone through obviously the kind of contents about the subject matter that's offered at Windsor, the unique facilities, obviously we're talking about the mix and match, which is between A Levels and BTEC. I will be touching upon that as well myself. But now what I really want to do is give you a bit more information about the process of applying and when you should apply, how to apply, what kind of things you should keep an eye out for, top tips, key top tips to help you with that process to make it as easy as possible, and obviously to answer any questions you may have. Okay, so making an application and applying for the college is pretty straightforward. You use our online application system. But before you even start that process, before you even click and actually go and apply, it's important that you do your research. Okay, so there's many resource materials out there to use. The ones that I would recommend strongly is obviously our own college website. So the Windsor Forest College website has all the information you need about all three sites, including Windsor College. It gives information about our A-level subjects, our diploma subjects, our GCSE pathways. These are all the courses that are available at Windsor College. I mentioned something called mix and match, and that's something that's quite unique to the Windsor Forest Colleges Group. It's in particularly a unique selling point for us when it comes to Windsor and Strode, because what that allows you to do is actually pick things like A levels and mix it with a diploma, like a BTEC diploma. I'll give you a bit more information about that as part of the process of applying. But the main thing is to go onto our website, research your subject area, look at the subjects you're interested in. In particular, pay attention to things like the entry requirements. They are the most important things. You need to ensure that you meet the entry requirements and that you have the subjects and the grades necessary. And I'll go into a bit more detail in a few seconds. The other thing to do is obviously there's other ways you can research as well. You can do some research independently yourself, and you can look through prospectuses that are available. You can also speak to parents and guardians, get some advice from them. Obviously they know you, they are very much about your future, making sure you're going on the right path. Think about where you want to be. So it's important. This is an important step. I think Amanda mentioned this as well. Not only are you moving on from school and obviously that environment, but you're also going to be moving into the next stage of your education. So think back to when you picked your GCSEs, how important that was, who helped you with that process, probably your parents and guardians. And now it's important to make that next big step. So parents and guardians are very useful people to talk to. Think about also talking to your schools. You'll have a careers team there and guidance teams available. There's our tutors that might help you as well, and they can help you with that process of applying, but also about what kind of subjects you might want to do. The other thing to keep in mind is also think about maybe a particular career you might be interested in as well. So if you have aspirations to go into a particular career in the future or go into maybe higher education, going to university, you need to kind of plan ahead and think about what kind of subjects you need to take to get into that career and get into that particular qualification in higher education as well. So if you have aspirations to be, going to something like science, you need to figure out what subjects you will be particularly need to take as your next step. Okay, and there's a lot of research opportunities available. You've got plenty of time, obviously. So these are some of the examples where you can get more information. Like I said, once you have looked at the website and seen things that you might be interested in, there is an option for you to kind of store some of this information to what we call the basket. And that's basically where you can store the subjects you might be interested in before you make an application. And that's where you can really do the mix and match. So let me explain what mix and match is about. So if you are a person who might be interested in doing some A levels, but have interest into doing a diploma as well, you have an opportunity to mix the subjects. So historically, when you go on to things like a sixth form or a college, normally what you would do is pick 3 A levels to make your level 3 program. But what we can offer you, which is quite unique, is the opportunity to do a diploma and as well as picking your A levels as well. It doesn't actually apply to things like extended diploma subjects. So if, for instance, I'll give you examples. So if you are interested in performing arts, as example, we have something called extended diploma. That is equal to 3 A levels. So that is quite a heavy course. It has a lot of contents in it. It will keep you busy for 2 years, and therefore it's equal to 3 A levels. So you won't be able to pick another A level subject with the extended diploma. However, in the same area of performing arts, we have something called the foundation diploma, which is equivalent to 1 A level, and therefore you will be able to pick 2 A levels to go with it. Okay, so that's how you can do a mix and match. So what you do is you go through obviously our website, you look at the subjects you might be interested in, the variety, the things that obviously interest you, you may be passionate about. Obviously, that's a good way of picking a subject as well. And if you've got any career aspirations to get some guidance from family and friends, you then put those into a basket, and then we can help you with the next stage. Okay. So let me see if I can get this to move. So I mentioned something about entry requirements. So it's very important when you're looking and doing your research and preparing to make an application, you know what the entry requirements for subjects are. Okay, so things like A levels, which we offer at Windsor, will have entry requirements of 5 GCSEs between 9 and 4. Okay, but be careful. There are certain subjects that will require you to have higher grades. So for instance, things like maths or further maths require you to get a grade of a 6 or above, and therefore that will be higher than the actual normal entry requirements, so between 9 and 4. And that's why, as part of your research, you should actually go through each individual subject, check the entry requirements, and make sure you meet those. Now, some of you might be waiting, you may not have any grades or target grades or predicted grades at the moment, and you might be waiting to do your mock exams over the Christmas period, but you will get some target or predicted grades close to that time. We understand that, we appreciate that. So at the moment, I think what you need to do is go with the things that you know you're strong in, the subject that you know you'll do well in, get some feedback from your tutors, your teachers, and obviously work on that basis. Once you get your target or predicted grades, we will ask you to obviously provide that information, and that will support your application as well. Okay, so things like A levels, if you're going to go for 3 subjects, it's going to be 5 GCSEs between 9 and 4. And obviously keep an eye on special subject areas like maths or further maths. Even things like sociology will require a grade that's slightly higher, so do keep an eye out for that. BTEC extended diplomas are very similar as well. A BTEC diploma, the slight difference between A levels and BTEC diploma is that fact that diplomas tend to be more practical. There's coursework involved, you can do projects. So the kind of things you might do that in is things like performing arts, art courses, media courses, business courses as well. So they're more practical, they have coursework involved in it. They do still have the same entry requirements between 9 and 4, and therefore you need to keep an eye on what the subject areas that you're applying for and what kind of grades you need there as well. The other option that we have available at Windsor obviously are some level 2 pathways, which is GCSE science pathway, and there's a creative pathway as well. And they do have entry requirements as well, so do keep an eye out for that. And they require GCSE grades between 4 and 2. Okay, they are the 2 main pathways that you will have for Windsor College. Unfortunately, we do not have any level 1 or pre-entry courses there that you will be able to apply for. So it's very much keep an eye on level 2 pathway courses in the media, so the creative pathways and the GCSE science pathway, and obviously focusing on the level 3 subject that you might be interested in. If you're not too sure, you're not sure whether you're going to meet the entry requirements, but you feel that you're going to be close to it, do make an application. Obviously what we'll do is when we have the opportunity to talk to you, we will explain the entry requirements, check with you at the time, and then obviously we'll wait to see what you get for your predicted grades, and then we can discuss alternative options available. Okay, so once again, remember, when you apply, you do have the option to obviously apply to Windsor, but the application can also be considered for things like Strode as well as Langley, same process, and we can look at what's available within the Windsor Forest Colleges Group. But we will firstly, and obviously our priority was to focus on your application at Windsor College in the first instance. Okay, so I'm sure you're going to have some questions about that, but I'll come back to that in that Q&A session. One thing I wanted to point out as part of the entry requirements is some of these creative courses that we have do require you to have a portfolio of work. You may be asked to present that. So if you are doing some art courses, they may ask you to hand in some evidence of work. Now, obviously, with social distancing in place, we may ask you to submit that via your application. I'll explain how you can do that. They may ask you to do some evidence of emailing some details over to the tutors so that they can look at that before you have the interview as part of your interview process as well. But there's an opportunity as part of your application to upload documents, any evidence that you want to support your application. And I'll go through that in a little bit more detail as when we do the online application process. So as I mentioned, to make an application, you can do that by using our website. This is a screenshot of the website at the moment. You go into the course section, you can select which college you want to apply for, so you can actually pick Windsor College, and what it will do is for you is actually filter out all the other subject areas, so you can just concentrate on Windsor College and the subjects that are available there. If you're just interested in A levels, you can select A levels, and then we'll obviously focus on those. But if you want to keep it more broad and want to keep it more open, you could just select full-time, and it will give you an opportunity to see what kind of A-level subjects we've got available and what kind of diplomas that we have available at Windsor College. And that's where the mix and match opportunity arises. Just to want to point out one thing, the mix and match only works in the same level of subjects. So if you're doing A levels, you can mix obviously to a diploma, which is a level 3. You won't be able to mix and match with a level 2 program with a level 3 program, if that makes sense. So it's very important to know that. Okay. And then when you get a chance, you can actually select the subject and actually add it to the basket as indicated on the slide there. Okay, and the basket will allow you to hold up to 3 different subjects. Okay, if you are short, so for instance, you pick 2 A levels and you try to make an application, the actual basket will stop you and say you need to pick 1 more subject. Okay, so be careful of that. If you have picked an extended diploma, for instance, that should be sufficient for you to make the application. But if you have picked 1 A level, it won't be enough. So you will need to go back and add some in. And this is where sometimes I get questions about, I'm not sure what my third option is. So I think the best thing to do is go with what your gut feelings are, what you think you would like to do. You'll always have an opportunity when you speak to colleagues from the curriculum to make changes to your subjects, okay? Remember, it's an application, it's not set in stone. We want to be flexible. We want to talk to you about what you want to do, why you want to do it, and we want to guide you through that process. So we will be able to tell you whether these subjects you've chosen are the right pathway to your career or aspirations in the future, and we can also alter it and change it to other different subjects, so don't worry about that. But the main thing is making your application and then obviously coming to have the interview with us. The other thing to do is you do need to make an online account to make an application. So if you don't have an email address at the moment, a personal email address, I would strongly recommend you use a personal one, maybe rather than your school email address. Reason being is obviously you want to make sure you get communication from us and you continue to have that communication over the summer. So if you haven't got one at the moment, please set one up. The best thing I can recommend is trying to use your name in it so that it has a personal thing, and you can use it obviously in the future. And you can set it up with a variety of different places. You know, there are different kind of sites that will be able to set it up with. There's Hotmail, Yahoo, Google, you name it, you know, so your own network provider or your internet provider will be able to set it up. So if you need help or support, speak to your parent or guardian about that. But make sure you set it up and make sure you remember the password. It's very important because obviously password allows you to have access to your emails. Once you set up your email, you can actually go ahead and actually make the application using the Ed basket and the apply button, and it will go to a landing page where it says, would you like to set up an account? And that's pretty straightforward. You need to put your email details in, set up a password, try to remember the password, or make it something that you can remember, or write it down somewhere where it's safe and secure, and then it'll ask you some personal information. So the kind of things that we need, and it's something you might want to prepare in advance so you know what kind of things you need to put into the application. It's related to yourself, so personal information, so things like your date of birth, your address, and that's your full address with your postcode, your contact details, so in particular things like your mobile number and landline, because obviously at the moment when we're doing interviews, we're doing it by telephone, so we want to be able to contact you and reach out to you. Okay. Other things that you might need to provide us: if you're 16 to 18, we obviously need your parent or a guardian details as emergency contacts. We would also want information about your predicted or actual grades. Pardon me. So if you haven't got your target grades at the moment, as I mentioned before, you're waiting for your mocks to happen over the Christmas, then you can leave that blank. But I would suggest you put down your subjects at least, so we know the subjects you are currently studying. So what you can do is then go back into the account and actually update it later. If you are a 17-year-old or 18-year-old applying to Windsor College, you can obviously input your actual grades and let us know what grades you already have, and that will help us obviously decide and give us information about your application and help my colleagues from the curriculum when they're making the interview. Okay, this is also an opportunity for you now to upload any supporting documents as well. So as I mentioned to you before, if you've got any portfolio work that you want to upload, you can do that using the online account. If you got actual qualifications like certificates or exam results or school reports that you want to show us, please upload them. The more information you give us as part of your application, the stronger it will be for you. Okay. The other things that we would ask you for is any support information you might want to give us. So if you have any support needs like a learning disability or mobility issues, please let us know. We're very much about supporting your application. We want to support you in a holistic way. That means we want to support you from the academic point of view. We want to support you from a mobility point of view. If we need to give you access to any additional help in the classroom with teaching assistance or any teaching support, we can do that as part of that process. But we can only do that if you let us know about it in your application. So do disclose that to us. And that should be pretty much all the information we need. If you have any aspirations for any particular career or any kind of related work experience information, you can also upload that information as well, and that will help with your application. Now, the good thing is that if you made your account and you got your password set, you can go back to your application and update the information later on. But I would suggest before you start this process is best to get all this information together, get your personal details together, get your qualifications or predicted grades or target grades together. If you don't have those at the moment, like I said, you're just waiting to do your mocks, at least have your subjects written down. So prepare everything in advance, because once you do this process, it's pretty straightforward. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, but you want the information in front of you. You don't want to be kind of starting the process and have to disappear and try to obtain it. So just have it all close to hand, and then you can just input it. The good news is that you do this application and this process once, and you can actually use the same details to apply to Langley College, Strode College, as Windsor College. So it's a one process, but it feeds into all three sites, which is the most, I think, the most useful thing we can do to help you there. So in this case, obviously you're applying to Windsor College, but you may be interested in possibly applying to another. The same application will help you towards that. The only difference is you are applying for different subjects. That's the most important thing here, but your account remains, and the account allows you to track your application. So it allows you to see whether you have submitted it, whether you have an interview, whether you got an offer, and whether you accepted it. So there's a good tracking mechanism that's built into it, and I will show you where you are with all your applications. Okay. And the other thing is that you may want to consider as well is obviously if there's any supporting evidence other than your portfolio work. If you don't have anything that's available, you may want to go and speak to your teachers and ask them if there's any evidence that they can provide you, like a school reference, and then obviously you can actually upload that information as well. So if you don't have anything to hand at the moment, come and reach out to your school, see if they've got anything that they want us to provide you with, and then you could put that information up as well. Okay. Let me just go forward into a bit more about. So we talked about setting up an account. We talked about obviously any missing information. As I said, I can't stress to you how important it is to try to remember the username and password. Please write it down, or at least share it with your parent and guardian, because try to reset, which we're happy to do. So if you do have problems trying to log back into your account, you're very welcome to contact the central admissions team, and we'll help you reset your password. But it seems to be the most important thing that people sometimes forget to do. So please write it down, make sure you remember it. You will get an email when you set up your first account, and it will have the details of your username in there, but we won't disclose your password. That's something that you keep obviously to yourself and it's confidential, but we are happy to reset it if you need to. Another top tip I've noticed, if you're getting help from your parent or guardian making an application, make sure you explain to them it's about your application. So make sure it's your details that are going into the online account, not their details. So sometimes obviously parents put their details in, possibly put their mobile number in, but it's obviously we want to speak to yourself. They do have a section that's dedicated to them where they can put their own information in, which is basically the parent and guardian contact details. And we want that as well, obviously, if you're 16 to 18. Once you made your application and submitted it, you will get an email, like I said, confirming that it's all been set up. And what will happen is the central admissions team will go through your application, check that it's all the relevant information is there. If we've got anything that's missing or we need further details, we will contact you. So be prepared to get a call from us or an email for further clarification. But if everything's there and it's all ready to go, you will be contacted within 7 working days from us, and we will arrange a telephone interview. And as I said to you before, due to the fact that we've got the social distancing and the current restrictions in place, it will be a telephone interview, and that takes place. So at Windsor College, the telephone interviews take place between 3:30 and 5 o'clock, okay? And they're normally on a Wednesday, but so they're between 3:30 and 5 o'clock. We're trying to make it as convenient as possible. You will get an email in advance to tell you when the interview is going to take place, so you should be prepared. It will also indicate to you in the email the contact number we're going to call upon. So if it's got a mobile number you provided, it will show up in the email. You can double check that's correct, because that's the number we're going to call upon. If it's wrong or you need to correct it, or you've changed your mobile number, or it's your parents' number but you want to give us your number, then just call us up on to central admissions or email us, and we will obviously update the details for you so that our colleagues from the curriculum will call you on the correct number. Okay. The interview process itself is pretty straightforward. It takes around anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. It's about really going through your application and really making sure it's the right course for you. And if it's a mix and match, making sure the subjects you've chosen is the right ones. I think Amanda had previously in her presentation emphasized the importance of doing research, making sure you pick the subjects and really planning for the future. And the curriculum are doing exactly the same. They will be asking you questions, and really it's time for you to really be expressive and explain to us why you're applying for those subjects. What's your aspirations? What's your motivation for doing so? And that's really an opportunity for you to kind of talk to us. I know it's strange. I know it's doing it over the telephone is a bit strange, but please bear with us. You know, there is an opportunity, and we'll always have an opportunity to engage with you as we go through your application into that process over the summer break, and obviously to September. We will still engage with you several times. We'll give you opportunity to talk to us, and hopefully, as Amanda pointed out, in the future, in the new year, we'll have an opportunity to come and visit us at Windsor College as well. So at the moment it's a simple application, but the telephone process is important. You know, if you feel a bit shy, you're not too sure, you might want to do a bit of practice runs. You know, try it with friends, speak to your parents or guardians, and, you know, say, you know, talk as if you're going to speak on the phone, because I can, you know, it can be a bit nervous, but try to bear with us. We are here to help, and we really want to make sure you get the right course for yourself. Okay. So interviews really is about making sure that subject, the course you apply for, is the right one for you. So I just want to recap, because this is quite important. So remember, when choosing subjects, you want to choose subjects that you are interested in, has career related activity, you've double checked the entry requirements, so you know that you're confident that you're going to meet those, or you have, you know, strong feelings that you are passionate about it, and it has maybe links to things that you might want to do in the future, maybe if it's related to higher education. If you're not sure, and as I said to you before, maybe you've chosen a couple of subjects that you were very confident about, but one that you're not too sure about, this is the opportunity to talk to the curriculum. They are very experienced, they're very knowledgeable, they have, you know, loads of information. They can help you and guide you to make sure that the subject you have chosen are the right ones for you. And really, it's an opportunity for you to really showcase to us why you want to do the course and why you want to do it at Windsor College. And in return, it's an opportunity for the curriculum to really show to you why you should come to us, basically. Why are we the right choice for you, the first choice for you when you're considering doing things like A Levels or a BTEC in the future? And it all comes back to what Amanda was saying. It's about the facilities, it's the knowledge, it's the skills that we have, the expertise that we have, and that should really make you feel confident. And by the end of the interview, you should feel confident that you have done the right decision. The other thing that will happen by the end of the interview is you will know verbally whether you've been given an offer. And if you have, congratulations and well done. Because that means that you will receive something in an email format to say that you got an offer. So do keep an eye out for your emails. Like I said, if you have set one up, check it regularly. Do check your spam or junk mail, just in case any of our emails go in there. It will come from Windsor Forest Colleges Group. And obviously, if you get an offer, we want you to accept it. And it's pretty straightforward. When you see the offer come through, there'll be a link so you can log back into your account, and you will see there's an opportunity to press a button to accept your offer, and that secures your place at Windsor College as part of the Windsor Forest Colleges Group. Okay. If you have applied for more than one college, so if you apply to Windsor and you apply to another college, you can still go for your interviews at the other sites and then secure more offers until you made that decision over the summer. So we do allow you to apply to more than one site, but if you're just interested in Windsor, that's perfectly fine as well. And as I said to you, if there's any concerns or any questions about your offer, the curriculum are there to help. So please do ask some questions. Another top tip, something you might want to do, is write down your questions so that you got them ready so you can ask them to the curriculum, okay? Because sometimes people get nervous, people forget to ask the questions. And what inevitably happens is you put the phone down and then you go, oops, I forgot to ask that question. So write it down, you'll have an opportunity to talk to them, okay? That'll be the best thing I can suggest there. It's the top tip. Okay, so once you've got yourself an offer, like I said, we'll send you an email and give you an opportunity to get that offer in writing, and then you'll have an opportunity to accept it. It won't stop there. Just because you got an offer doesn't mean you're not going to hear from us. We will send you regular communication, to update you about events and activities. I think Amanda mentioned things about virtual activities that we're going to be setting up for the future. So you get a chance to engage with those and make sure you kind of keep up to date with what's happening at the college. If there's opportunity for you to visit, we will obviously let you know about that. Parents and guardians, we haven't forgotten about you at all. We will be sending you information as well. So obviously do stay in. There's things like the newsletter that we send out quite regularly. So please keep an eye out for those things. And if you have any questions, obviously get in contact with us as well. The one other thing I want to talk about is obviously between joining us in September, it's a long period of time. Obviously, there's a lot of questions you may have. There may be obviously some uncertainty about exams taking place. I know things have been recently in the news, there have been discussions about extending it by 3 weeks and so forth. But I would suggest whenever you've got concerns or whenever you've got questions, please contact us. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to advise you and support you. Okay, so I'm going to give you some important contact details. So if you need to contact Central Admissions, we have a direct telephone number. It's 01753 793288. That's 01753 793288. It's on the website. It's going to be available in the links. So you can call us. You just have to tell us that you made an application. We'll check your details and we can talk it through. One thing sometimes happens is that once you get an offer, sometimes people research, do a bit more investigation and realize, oops, I want to change one of my subjects, and we can guide you whether you can do that as part of your application process and how to go and get through that process as well. You may consider another subject you want to apply for and you want to make another application. We'll guide you through that process as well. Parents and guardians, if you're worried about maybe if your child has not met the entry requirements, what other options are available, we have experienced members of the Central Admissions team to talk you through that process, give you guidance and give you options that you can look at as well. So we're here to help you. If you are working from a school environment and you are a career advisor or a tutor, once again, we work in partnership with you, very important. And so we are here to help you and support you. And the Central Admissions team will be more than happy to engage with any activities you may have at school as well. So we're happy to come and visit. I'm happy to come and do obviously virtual events with you as well. So we're here to support. So this is not a one-way relationship, it's a two-way relationship, and very much we want everybody to be on board. The decision you're making is important, it's about your future, and we're here to help and support you to do that. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Hopefully I've got some questions. Over to you, Fiona.
Thank you, Daljit. That was great, really helpful. I've got lots of questions.
Yeah, no problem.
First of all, somebody's asking, when is the closing date?
There's no closing date as such. We are more than happy. We are open right now to take applications for September. We have been, and we have already started taking applications, and we have started already to do interviews. I would suggest you make your application as soon as you can, but please do your research. I do not want you to do it in a rush. We would rather you took your time, did your research, did your, spoken to your parents and guardians, spoke to your school, and really had to think about what you want to do, and then make your application. So once you made your application, we'll be in contact and we'll obviously arrange interviews. At the moment, Windsor College is having interviews now set up for November, so there's plenty of time. So don't rush it, but do make sure you're methodical and do as much research as you can. You coming to this event, you registering here and now for the open day is doing research, so well done. But keep on doing your research, and when you're ready, press the button and we'll be here to help you.
Thank you. Somebody's asked a specific question about if you someone had health issues which affected their attendance at school, would this be taken into consideration when looking at the college application?
We will definitely look at you in a holistic point of view. What that means is that we will look at all the support you might need. So if you had any medical reasons that you had attendance issues at school, obviously provide us any evidence. We'll talk about that as part of the application process. People do get unwell. We recognize that. People have long-term illnesses and mobility issues. Some people have short-term. So, these things happen. But the question is how you approached it, how did you get support from your school? Did it impact your grades, your predicted target grades? And do you think it's going to be something that we need to support you for the future? We do have a support team in our college that are based at all 3 sites, and they're there to help in the classroom and help you through that journey, through that process. So it will not hinder your application, but certainly please do give us as much information as you can so we can make an informed decision.
Thanks, Daljit, that's really helpful. Somebody's asking the question, if you're predicted high grades such as 8s and 9s, but you receive a lower grade, but you still pass, will this affect your offer?
If you had predicted high grades, we will obviously base it on the target grades that you gave us. But obviously, when it comes to the actual grades, we will have to look at those. So if you are within the scope of 9 to 4, which is obviously the grades that we need for the entry requirements for things like A levels and diplomas, we will look at your circumstances, see what happened. So if you went below that, it will be something that about what kind of things we can offer you. So as I mentioned to you before, we do have a level 2 pathway of courses available, and we can obviously look at the whole group. So that means looking at courses at other sites as well, so you don't get disadvantaged. We do need to emphasize, and it's very important, that it is about meeting the entry requirements. The entry requirements are there because we know from past experience that students who do not meet those entry requirements struggle and do not have a positive outcome at the end. We're not here to make sure that you fail, we're here to make sure you successfully pass and get the qualifications. So the entry requirements are no different really to any other institution, any other college that you go to, any other sixth form in a school environment. But what we're trying to say to you is if you meet those entry requirements, you are more likely to do well and actually be stretched and challenged and have a positive experience. And if you're on the border and you are on the border of those grades, we will look at you on an individual case. And maybe there's unique circumstances. Maybe you were unwell when the exams took place, and we'll take that into consideration. But the entry requirements are things that will guide you as a benchmark about the kind of expectations and the challenges you may face when you go on to things like A levels and BTEC courses. So please do keep an eye on those. Yeah.
Thank you. And if you've got issues that you need to notify the college about, such as health issues when you're applying, when should someone tell you?
That you can actually disclose that information as part of your online application. There is a section dedicated to any sort of medical support needs or any mobility or learning difficulties or disabilities. So you can give that information. Obviously, if something happens and unfortunately you are unwell and things happen after the application, you'll have an opportunity to contact us via the Central Admissions team, and we'll update your records and pass that information on to our colleagues. And it's vice versa as well. So you might be unwell, and obviously, and you might want to give us an update on where you are with your situation, and if it's improved, we want to obviously pass that information on as well. So it works both ways, but there is a section dedicated to that in the actual online application.
Thanks, Daljit. I'm just putting out a last call for any further questions if anybody has them. If not, please remember that we've got our careers video on the website along with our virtual tour, and our heads of department are still online until 7 p.m. on the live chat. You just click on the little blue button on the homepage of the website and the team are on hand ready to answer any questions. Okay, so I think that is it from us, but thanks very much, Daljit. Remember, we're also running an open day on Thursday for Strode. Yep, Daljit will be back doing this session again if anybody has any further questions that they want to ask. I've posted the telephone number for admissions, plus the email for admissions, and also the link to the college website. So thanks very much, Daljit, really appreciate that. And thanks everybody for attending.